my friends at the time were laughing at me because we're inside the Starbucks and I was outside on those tables with the umbrella.
When you're new at something, you're just trying to create a better life for yourself, but there's so many negative people. There's so many people that just don't
Just
get it.
figured, yeah, if
What
it's
was going
half true, if I can make just half of what some of those guys are making, my life would change completely and I can help out my family.
if you just hang with me and you actually learn the business and you follow the process and you do the things you're supposed to do, there's no question you'll make 100 grand. But the difference is I'll teach you how to make 100 grand that's passive.
Focus on hitting your goals in every area of your business. Remember, the universe rewards the bold. A leader has to take the risks.
All right. We got the incredible Ruben Chavez. What's happening, man? How are you, dude?
Doing well. Good morning, my brother. How about yourself?
Good
How you doing?
morning. I'm doing fantastic. So excited. The skate shop guy that goes to, multi millionaire. How's that all happen, man? How'd you get started anyways in the skate shop? Were you like a legit skater?
And I used to work for RVCA, which is Ruka. Before it was just skateboarding back then. I know now they do snowboarding and surfing, all kinds of gear. And I used to go to Citrus College, and I remember that day I didn't make the team. I played high school football, and I had my DMV appointment to get my motorcycle's license. And in that DMV meeting, I met this guy named Jesse Garcia, and he's the one that talked to me about the opportunity. And here I am almost 16 years later.
So I want to go a little bit deeper. I want to go a
Yeah,
little bit further back. And
sure.
like, how did you get into skating? So where'd that all start?
I think I started when I was 10, 11 years old, and with a lot of the kids on my block. So we did it for many years. I remember even got my younger brother into it. He got so good that he ended up getting sponsored. He even got better than me. So we were okay at it. I never thought I was going to make a living off of it, but I enjoyed it. And that led to me be able to work at Active Skate Shop, which I'm sure you heard of before.
Yeah, yeah. So did you go on? I mean, did you ride like,
My
the
brother was
ramps and all
I
that kind
was
of stuff?
I was a street skater.
Okay, okay,
It's a little different, yeah. Rail,
okay.
stairs, but definitely did it for many years.
Did you break any bones?
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
Bro
you did really? What'd you break?
yeah. Broke an arm, broke a leg, messed up an ankle. It was just kind of part of it.
Okay. And so you end up working at a skate shop. You meet the guy that recruits you in this business.
Right.
And so how did that go? Like, what did he say to make you say yes? What was in his verbiage that made you go, "Oh shit, maybe I could do this."
I think I was looking. He didn't say a whole lot. He gave me a flyer. And I was working at the skate shop, plus I was working at an uncle's company on the weekends. So I was always looking for ways to make some money. I'm the oldest of three. My dad was in dialysis. At the time, he was actually in a coma in Foothill Presbyterian in Glendora. So I was looking for ways to help my mom. And when he talked to me about the opportunity, I think he was so bad that I didn't even understand what he was talking about. I really was just looking. It was November. It was around Thanksgiving time. And I remember sharing with the family that I'm going to get started in financial services. And I couldn't answer one question because I didn't really understand what he talked to me about. He went on for like 2 hours about what I was going to be doing. But I think it just goes to show that I think you find those maybes to turn into yeses. And I was definitely that maybe at the time. I was just looking.
You can't say the wrong thing to the right person.
Ain't that the truth?
And you were the right person. And so I know that, probably your family, probably your friends, the guys at the skate shop, your buddies that you hung out on the weekends. I mean, I'm sure they laughed at you a little bit. I'm sure they doubted you a little bit. They said, what's this thing you're doing? And, is it like a scam? Is it a pyramid? Is it, what is it like? What was kind of going through your mind when, because that's a lot to handle when you're new at something, you're just trying to create a better life for yourself, but there's so many negative people. There's so many people that just don't get it.
Yeah.
What was going through your mind in those early days?
I think it helps to be part of an environment. I was starting to question my decision because I did at the time was $199 to get the licensing fees going. And when I did the interview at a Starbucks by Citrus College, and actually my friends at the time were laughing at me because they were inside the Starbucks and I was outside on those tables with the umbrella. So I'm in, my dress code. How do you dress for a skate shop? Jeans and a t-shirt, and yeah, there's this guy in a suit interviewing me. And yeah, I couldn't defend it. I think we're so fragile, like this fear at the beginning. We don't know how everyone struggles with the language and understanding the industry that you're getting involved in. So I definitely got some heat. My parents were hoping that it was real because I was already working multiple jobs. So they weren't questioning if I was gonna work. They were just questioning where was I going, what the company, the environment, the people. So my first opportunity meeting, I show up to an office in Irwindale and I used to ride a motorcycle. So my first op night was my street bike. Average age there was probably 35 years old. So I'm sticking out like a sore thumb. But it was the environment that got me. 200 plus people, people from different walks of life, just people that came where I came from and that were winning. So I just figured if it's half true, if I can make just half of what some of those guys are making, my life would change completely and I can help out my family. But the environment definitely had everything to do with it. Jesse got me in there, and once I was there, everyone else locked me in.
Yeah, it's you just brought me back to when I was getting started, and I remember showing up with a baseball hat, white t-shirt, baggy jeans, and those yellow work boot, like construction work boots. I mean, I wasn't in construction, but it was kind of like the style back then.
Timberlands?
Yeah, I think they were Timberlands. Yeah, yeah, and I walk into this meeting. Yeah, and I stuck out like a sore thumb for sure. I mean, and I remember the guy doing the meeting. He's looking at me and he's like, "Oh, you could make all this money and get rich and travel the world and freedom and make millions of dollars." And I'm just thinking in my mind like, this is such bullshit, right? Like, no, like he
Sure.
sounded like the guy on the infomercial at 4 o'clock in the morning, but there was something about it, and you can kind of share your experience, but there was something about it, like, I started thinking to myself, wait a minute, okay, so my parents aren't rich, my aunts and uncles aren't rich,
Right.
nobody in my neighborhood is rich, and this guy's rich. I mean, he's got a Ferrari. Now, I don't know if it was rented or I don't know if it was bullshit at the time. Now, obviously,
Sure.
now I know it was legit, but I mean, this is the stuff that goes in your mind, right? I mean, I didn't really never knew anybody that owned a Ferrari before. And so
Right.
it's sitting right outside, and I walk right past it as I'm jumping out of my $4,000 Nissan pickup truck with no air conditioning, and you have to roll your windows down like this. And I'm thinking in my mind, I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. Nobody else that I know has this kind of life. So why not? Like, why not at least just try? And so, what was your experience when you started kind of seeing people making money? And of course, those doubts, rush through our mind a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just grateful that I was naive enough to believe. I think if we start analyzing the business, sometimes that can get you to leave early, even before you know if you're even good at it. And being in the environment, and the ones that gave me the most hope were the up and comers. Because I used to see the regional vice presidents, the way they would carry themselves, they were just sharp. Guys like Hector Montes Martin Cruz, they they had this swag about them, which it was more like that's who I can be one day. But to see some of these up and comers that some of them had full-time jobs and to see them make 3,000 part-time, 5,000 part-time, today may not feel like it's a lot of money, but an extra 30 to 3,000 to $5,000 a month, that's a solid plan B. And at the time, I wasn't even making the 3,000 a month. So I think the up and comers are the ones that gave me the most hope. I saw people like Noemi Rubio, she's such an inspiration, and I know she's in your organization, and say things like, my English is broken, but my pockets are not. And I'm like, oh my God, if they can pay that lady that amount of money, hopefully they can pay me a few bucks as well. So I got to see a lot of examples of people that weren't pretending that they walk on water or that were perfect, but they just had the will and they learned the skill here. And that's what gave me the most hope to see average people really do some special things here.
So I got a question, man. Like you're such a calm, cool, collected guy, right? I mean, you are, you're the epitome of humble and just like, really easygoing. Have you always been like this? And because, obviously you see lots of different leadership styles, right? Some
Sure.
people are really loud and tough and strong. And, Art Williams used to throw erasers at his, at the chalkboard. And,
Yep.
there's crazy, Jimmy Meyer is, loud and crazy. And, Hector Lamarck, he's a little bit, cool and calm, but he's also, he'll really get in your face and tell you shit that you don't want to hear. And
Sure.
so, like, were you always like this? I mean, is this how you were in the beginning? Do you feel like this was a part of your strategy, a part of who you are, or you just always were just yourself, or have you just changed because now you make a lot more money than you did in the beginning? I mean, you make a
Sure.
lot of money now, and what anything changed?
I think my personality for the most part has been the same. I'm very competitive. I think what helps you in this business is that you can leverage yourself with other people. I love the tough coaching. I'm in the Rick Susie hierarchy, and I love that kind of coaching. I think I respond better to that personally. I think,
Explain Rick Susie for a second,
well,
because a
well,
lot of people don't know who that is.
Rick Susie is, one of the top guys in our company. I mean, makes millions of dollars, but most important, I think when you look at his resume, is how many millionaires he's produced. One thing is to become successful, but to be able to help others do the same, it's a game changer. And to me, Rick Susie is one of those guys that you're either gonna love him or you're gonna hate him. It depends where you are in life. And when I came into this business, I didn't need somebody to tell me what I wanted to hear. I was okay with tell me I'm going to get punched in the mouth, but it's going to be worth it. Don't tell me to kind of ease into it. Tell me what steps to take. I'm sure there's a sequence, but what do I need to do to really get this thing going? Because I think a lot of the times we start slow and we stay slow and we want to kind of work our way into it. But, Rick Susie was like a mirror to us. He was like an X-ray and he would make us feel very uncomfortable. Sandy Benitez is a lot like that too. She's also another broker in our company, all within the same company, but she has her different style, but she can get in your face and tell you what you need to hear for you. I personally love that kind of coaching. I don't think there's enough of that today. I think that's probably something that we're lacking in American business today, to be able to be part of an environment where you can be a three and then become a seven. And I think that's the environment that I came into where people would get in your face. So then I use that in my favor. I couldn't be a Rick Susie. I couldn't be a Sandy Benitez. I had the opportunity to work with Mike Sharp, also another giant in our company. And everyone had different personalities. So I wanted to use them in my favor. I knew I couldn't be like them or sound like them. It's kind of when you hear people that try to be like someone else and they sound really awkward because it's not them. So I figured, let me just be who I am. Obviously, work on me getting better. Early on, I learned through Rick Susie that we're not the message, we're the messenger. So we got to get good at it in every part of our business. But I would just bring people in. Not everyone would click with me, but they would click with everybody else. So I figured it's kind of like a band. We're all have play different instruments. Not everyone's the lead singer. Someone's the drummer, someone's the bass player, but together we can make some pretty good music. So my personality pretty much has always been similar. It's been the same, I think. It's just I would leverage myself with everybody else.
And so would you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
An extrovert.
Okay, really? What's that?
Yes. Well, so high school, I won most popular and I won best car actually. I went to Gladstone High School. I had a Chevy S10, 1985 at the time. I didn't think I was going to win. I still have that truck today. My dad gave me that truck, and now my daughter wants to drive it when she's in high school. Um, the kickbacks were at my house. I can have fun for sure. I can have fun, but I think when we're working, and when we're having fun, let's have some fun. I'm not gonna talk your ear off about business if we're just trying to relax and have a good time.
Love it, man. Love it. And when did you know, like, was there like a time where things switched for you, where it was kind of like you were just doing it, doing the business, and then it switched over where, this is my calling? Because, I mean, you don't get
Sure.
to where you're at unless you feel like this is what you're meant to do.
Yeah. So, I was very hopeful at the beginning, and I think like what happens to everybody or most of us is we hit that wall. And when we hit that wall, I think it's important to come to your own rescue and ask questions. Or in our business, go up to an upline. And I remember I was gonna throw in the towel, especially because the person helping me directly, which I'm very grateful for, and I have a lot of love for him. Thanks to his courage, I'm here today. But you know, having clarity, I think everyone struggles with looking at this business through the right lens and then to speak the right language. It takes you a little while to get there, but I got to borrow other people's confidence that got me to a point where I was able to do that first appointment by myself. And I would make when I made those first 525 on my own, which I think it took me longer to do the application than to get the yes. But I remember when I got that first check, I figured, man, if I can do this a couple times a week, it's over. I was only making 2,000 a month at the skate shop, and to be able to experience 525 bucks in an hour and a half of work 16 years ago, today is decent money. Back then there was everything. That was my week's pay. And but that's just got me excited. It's kind of, that video game, what is it, Cruising USA?
Mhm.
When you go through that line, it's like checkpoint, it gives you another 30
Right,
seconds.
right, right.
Well, that was just kind of like a checkpoint for me. That sale, it kept me in it long enough. I think when I did it 3 months in a row, about 8 to 12 sales, I knew I was going to be able to do something special here, especially because I didn't have to do everything. This business gives an opportunity to leverage yourself with everyone else. I just needed to stay in it. And just knew it was a matter of time. I just needed to get securities license and get kind of everything in place. But I think once I knew I can do that presentation by myself, I knew it was just math at that point. I just needed to stay in it.
Yeah, it's wild that you talk about $500, but Max, my son, he's
Yeah.
licensed and he's in business with me now. He was with a client for an hour and 15 minutes last night and made over Zoom, by the way, made like $2,500. So it's like it's unbelievable, man. I mean, the amount of money that people can make,
Yeah.
the opportunity is just so big right now. I mean, it's just so
Yeah.
massive right now. There's so much money being made,
Yep.
and it's wild that anybody would be satisfied with making 2 grand a month or $1,500 a month. It's just, it's a whole different world today. I mean, I've been doing this for 30 years and I just have never seen it as good as it is right now.
It's too good right now.
Yeah, it's really good. You had a health scare about like a year ago, right?
Yes.
And I want you to kind of take me through that journey a little bit because I'll tell you, I mean, obviously I don't see you very often, but you are just down the street. So I kind of,
Yes.
know the things that are happening. And you actually do, you have a big impact on a lot of people that are in my organization as well. And you've helped coach them and you taught them so much. And so, yeah, so you went through so what happened, and, kind of take us through that little moment in time for you, man.
You know what? I think our whys graduate with time, right? And at first it was, to take care of my folks. And I was able to do that thanks to this business. And then I knew I eventually wanted to have a family, and I have one today, thank God. And everything was decent. We had built 100 grand base shop. I promoted an RVP. And then about 6 months after that, I started noticing like a mass on my leg, a lump on my leg. Honestly, I thought it was maybe when I played ball when I was younger. They said that can happen from injuries, maybe even from skateboarding when I was younger. So I didn't really think much of it. Cancer doesn't run in my family, so I didn't even think that would be it. And then a year and a half after that, a year after that, excuse me, now it's at a point where I can't even wear jeans anymore. I can feel it like it's alive. So I start setting up doctor appointments to do a biopsy. And that's when they tell me it was sarcoma cancer. And the survival rate on that is pretty low. It's a rare cancer. Doctor starts to tells me in City of Hope that if I survive, and it was a big if, I would probably have heart problems and kidney problems because of the treatment. And a lot of people in our business have gone to Envita out in Scottsdale, Arizona. Thanks to George Verdugo and Michael Bradbury, they set me up to do an appointment. But it was a scary time. I'm 37 today. I was 34 at the time. So it's been about 2.5 years that I left the treatment. And, my wife's a stay-home mother. I have 3 kids. So I started thinking about our team. You know how that is. They're extended family. You worry about them almost as much as you worry about your own family. And it was a scary time. I was ready to throw everything at it. And Envita saved my life. I lived out of my RV from May to August. At 10 o'clock at night, it's 100 degrees out there. And I was concerned that my ACs would go out because I had to keep them on in my RV 24/7. It was at the time, it was a humbling time for sure. Today I'm grateful for it. I think I'm in a different place because of it. Um, but it was definitely a tough time. It was
How important, because I want you to also kind of uh take us through the process a little bit in the sense of, okay, so most people cannot just take off, right? I mean, you got a job, right? Most people you don't have a job, but most people have jobs.
right.
You get sick, you don't just not do anything and just go to Envita and live in your RV for 10 months. I mean, it's like, who does that? And who's able to do that? And what, uh, so you talk about Envita saved your life, but how impactful was it, or how important was it that you had a business, man, that was paying you massive passive income? I mean, you never stopped getting paid.
No, definitely.
And so walk us through that a little bit, and explain to people how important it is to have your own business, but not just have your own business. Not, I mean, if you worked at a liquor store and you ran it, it would have been done.
Yeah.
I mean, but because you had a different type of business,
Yeah.
why is that so important, as helping to save your life probably as well?
No doubt about it. I mean, Yes, and Vita, when it comes to their treatment, saved my life, but my business really saved my life. God number one, but my business after.
Of course.
Because if I were to be at a job, I'm sure they would feel bad for me, but not wait for me a year to get on my feet and just keep paying me what we're making. It's obviously not always how much money you make, but also how you make your money. And I'm so grateful that I have a book of business that makes me look better than what I really am. Like I have great teammates, an agency, a licensed team that makes me look better than what I am as well. To be able to just focus on my treatment, which was hard enough, but not have to worry so much about the financial side of it, it was really a game changer. My base shop came together, my hierarchy came together, and we're still running a 50 grand base while I was there, and that had everything to do with being able to not just be in this industry, but in our business model. What an opportunity to have people that are working for their dreams, but because they're part of your agency, it can benefit you as well. I can't even imagine, Daniel, being in anything else. For starters, Envita would have been out of the question. For starters, uh, just
Like
the
that's hundreds of thousands of dollars,
hundreds
right?
of
I mean,
thousands
this
of
is, yeah.
dollars.
I mean,
Absolutely.
this is big money, big money.
And, and not only that, just to stay out there, um, which is worth every penny. Health is very important, the most important. But I can't imagine being able to be an employee and be out there. Not only the money part and the passive income, which is very important, but I think this business is the best self-improving program that you can be a part of. I think it helped. I think I was strong enough, or God gave me the strength to mentally to be able to go through this. And that's what this business does. You got to become better. You got to get better to slay the dragons that you have to slay every day or in this business. So, I felt confident. I had faith that I was going to get through it because we've been through so much in business that we were hoping that this could be another one that we can get through as well. But definitely this business gave me the opportunity to go to Envita and to be able to take care of it financially. Yeah.
Why do you think that people don't recruit, man? I mean, they have an they have a chance.
Yeah.
They're a part of something big. The company's been around for 50 years, man. It's not like it's just some little thing. It's not like we're working out of our houses, or we have physical locations. We have tons of success stories. We have tons, like, what because you've been around here a little while, man, and you've
Yeah.
seen so many people come and go. What is it? Because I think you're so deep in your thoughts and you're such an intelligent man. Why do you think that people don't recruit, and why don't they do it? When they know they should do it, because their other option is being at a job for the rest of their life.
Yeah. You know, um, I've had two times in my business. When I was in the base shop, we were doing 100 recruits a month. And it was very prospect, bring them in, and let's see what the environment does. And it worked to a point, but I felt like we had a lot of people fall through the cracks. So sometimes when we have experiences like that, we can get a little gun shy and we feel like we're bringing people into something that maybe and will work for them. But it's just a thinking problem. For starters, we don't develop anybody, we find them. Okay, we find those that are willing to work on themselves, to willing to develop themselves. But I think most of us struggle with the basics. Earlier I mentioned to you that everyone struggles with two things: understanding our business, how our business works, and speaking the language. And at the beginning, when you don't have the confidence, people are scared for starters
Right, right.
to recruit. Um, so they don't do it because they don't understand, or they cheapen this thing as well. That changed the game for me too, because I don't bring anybody on board if you don't have at least 8 to 10 hours a week to start and you're really looking to build. It is okay to not recruit somebody. I think when you push people away, they want to be more of what you're doing. And I think sometimes it's almost like everyone just come in and come and do this thing. No, yes, this business is for everybody, but it's got to be somebody that is really we have to manage that expectation up front. And if we don't manage that expectation up front with people, it almost feels like anyone can just say no to us. It feels good to manage an expectation and tell people, hey, listen, right now it's not, it sounds like it may not be the best time for you because you don't have at least 8 to 10 hours a week. Because today, what's a part-time? 20 to 29 hours. But if you don't have at least 8 to 10 hours a week, and if you're not looking to learn a new career, then this may not be for you right now. This is a long-term strategy. This is for long-term thinkers. You're not here just for a quick fix or a short-term solution. When someone says, hey, I want to start making 5,000 a month right now, I don't have a solution for you. But if you want to start making 10 to 20,000 a month, 12 to 24 months from now, I have a solution for you because there's some licensing involved. There's some training involved. And I think it's important to manage that expectation up front. I think it feels like you're in control because if someone says yes, it's because they know they're signing up to learn a career, to learn a new skill while you have your full-time job and then transition. And I think most of us, when we're new, we don't know if it's a job or it's a career opportunity. It's like we try to compete without us really knowing with the $20 an hour deal, and it's not the same. That's just to take care of your bills while you're learning a new skill to build wealth long term. Yeah.
I always just thought it was kind of crazy because, I mean, doctors go to school for 10 years
Yeah.
and they make 150 grand a year.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. If it takes me 4 years, 5 years, even 10 years to make what doctors are making,
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. I'm, and then on top of all that, and then I should think about it too, right? If I'm a doctor, you might be working at Kaiser, working at some sort of facility where you're getting a paycheck. Well, now you're paying half of that in taxes. So now what are you making? 80 grand, maybe 90 grand, something like that. And so, but if I make 150,000 in my business, I'm an entrepreneur. I
Yeah.
keep the vast majority of that money. I keep it, or at least I'm able to spend it to grow and to expand and to, continue further my, to continue to further my business. I mean, it was such a no-brainer to me.
Yeah.
Why people wouldn't get excited about that, or why somebody look, I've had tons of people come in and they're like, man, if I'm not making $100,000 within my first 6 months, I got to get out, I can't. And I've told them, sorry, but I don't got an idea. I don't have a plan for that, man.
Really not.
That's probably not going to happen. Now, I'm not saying it can't happen. People have done it before,
Yeah.
but it's not very likely.
Yeah.
And with that said, if you just hang with me and you actually learn the business and you follow the process and you do the things you're supposed to do, there's no question you'll make 100 grand. But the difference is, I'll teach you how to make 100 grand that's passive. Teach you how to make 100 grand that you don't have to go work for the 100 grand for the rest of your life. And so you kind of get what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Like I mentioned earlier, it's not only how much money you make, but how you make it. And passive income is everything. The number one currency today is to be able to concentrate on one thing. Today, because of technology, which is a great tool, but there's a lot of people that jump from one thing to another. Just a buddy of mine recently, he's 37 as well. He was telling me how frustrated he is because in the last 10 years, he's been part of 7 different industries. And I said, bro, yeah, of course you feel like you're starting over. How is it possible you've been in 7 different industries in the last 10 years? That means you haven't stayed anywhere at least 3 years. You never stayed anywhere long enough to really master anything, to really be able to move up. In this business, anyone that has that has a long term that is a long-term thinker, that has the will, you're gonna learn the skill. Before you know, you got the hard skills down. Before you know, you have the soft skills down. You develop the leadership skills, and before you know, you got a book of business and a core group of guys running with you. This is really a guaranteed thing. if you're willing to be a long-term thinker, put in the work behind it. And, what we do for people is it doesn't compare. You and I have know people in other companies in the same industry. We know what they offer. We're really the only ones across the kitchen table not only doing the right thing, but to be able to build a book of business the way we do investments, the way the plans that we do. I mean, I think about your business, Daniel, just in your AUM, that's only going to continue to triple with time, even if you don't add any more to it. It's just the way that it is. So long-term thinkers definitely have a chance to do something special here, but it's tricky today. I was telling my daughter, it's got to be so confusing to be 18 years old today because of so many options that you have. Today you look up, how do I rebuild my transmission? Someone's going to pop up, show you step by step on how to do that. If the information is instant, positive. But the negative also is that everything's instant. There's just so many options that it's just really hard to be able to stick to one thing for a lot of people today.
That's interesting that you brought that up. That's a great point, man. That I mean, it's scary because there's so many ways to make money in the
Yeah,
world, and there's so many also. I think it's kind of sad too because
yeah,
although I utilize social media a lot, I mean the truth is, there's a lot of bullshit on social
sure,
media.
sure.
It's like, I mean, because a lot of people don't realize that every single person in our company, we can see what they make. All we got
Yeah,
to do is just go online and you can see. I mean, that's all published information. I mean, you can't go on the YouTuber and find out what he made last month.
right.
And so it's a little bit like, it's a little scary because
Sure.
there's a new idea that comes up every day. Am I going to do this? Or am I going to do this? Am I going to? And so I thank God every day that at 21 years old, I found my calling. And I tell people all the time, you got to find one thing and make it your life's work.
That's it.
Because the challenge with your buddy is that he found like 10 things and he didn't make it any of his life work. So he never got great at anything.
Exactly.
And I tell people all the time too, like, look, man, I mean, there's a lot of ways to get rich. This is not the only way to get rich. And I'll never be the one to say, oh my God, if you don't do my business, then you're screwed. There's a lot of ways to make money in the world. I'm just saying that this is one really good one
Yeah.
that I think offers all of the human needs, right? You're getting all of the things that you need for basic human needs, like growth and contribution and love and significance,
Yeah.
and of course, money and passive income and all the things that we want. I think our business provides a lot of that, and versus if do a certain career, you might get a piece of those human needs, but I don't think you'll get all of them. And so I feel very lucky that I found one thing and I made it my life's work.
Yeah. Also, Daniel, I'm sure you've heard it before. I just don't feel like investments is my passion or like insurance is my passion. But I mean, how many times I've met somebody that is good at something and not be passionate about it? Most people leave because they're not good at it yet. Those first 90 days, 6 months, I think are the scariest in this business, or even up to the first year. It really takes a while to learn the basics, but I think once you get good at it, you really enjoy it.
What's what would you say is a big misconception about your business that uh people just, they get it wrong, but that it's right? What would you say?
A couple of them. One of them is, the whole commission thing. There's, I mean, I get it. There's commission where if you sell, you make, you don't, you don't. But but here it feels like you're an independent contractor just at the beginning, especially if you're willing to recruit. How many people think that we just do insurance? How many people think that it's just a commission thing where there's phases in this business? You really work your business, you put your head down for a period of time. Now you have passive income. We're no longer complaining about this commission thing. I mean, but there's real estate guys that do really well, but you sell 10 homes in a year, good for you. But if you don't sell those 10 homes, that we're in trouble. I mean, in real estate, I have a guy that I'm training right now, and he was bragging, and I like him a lot. And I think he's going to do well, but he was telling me about 2021 and how well he did. And my question to him was it because of the market, because of a good client, or a good agent under you? And he starts laughing. Here we control that. Good economy, bad economy. You don't have to have a good guy or a good client. This is something that you can really build some big passive income. It's not just this commission thing. It feels like that at the beginning because we start as independent contractors. We haven't made a name for ourselves yet. But just the whole commission and this insurance thing, it's a huge misconception. This is designed to build big passive income while you're helping others go in business for themselves.
Isn't it crazy that life insurance, because people, they look down upon life, and like, oh, I'll never be a life insurance agent, I would never do that kind of business. And it's comical to me because they say stuff that they have nothing, they know nothing about. Like for example, life insurance is a non-economy driven business.
Yeah.
So when COVID hits, because we're going to have another COVID, y'all realize. I mean, there will always be something, right?
So,
I've been through the worst stock market crash in 2001. I've been through the worst mortgage crisis in 2010. I've been through the worst, COVID scare in 2020. I mean, I've been through every possible bad scenario in that any human could go through in this short period of time. We've been through everything. Wars. I mean,
yeah,
we had the Afghan war and all that stuff in
yeah,
early 2000. And then you go, but my income is pretty much either growing or staying the same
yeah,
throughout all of those years. My income did not go down. Why? Because regardless of the interest rates,
yeah,
people buy life insurance. And regardless of the interest rates, people still buy investments.
yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, there's all these apps today, right? Today you can even pre-qualify yourself for a loan, or people are, especially with the changes in compensation in real estate, just to kind of piggyback on the insurance and investment side of it. I think what's so cool about our business, what's nice about our business is that it's a product that needs to be sold. No one gets up on a Sunday morning and says, babe, let's go get some life insurance. Normally, it's not like that. It needs to be sold. I mean, how many companies today have tried even doing it the other way and it doesn't work? You need a sales force. And I think that's definitely what helps us out. How many other businesses you need so much money up front? And how many other businesses credit needs to be right, income needs to be right. And here with us, anyone can take advantage of what we do. And we're selling $100 products. Well, with $100, someone can put money aside for retirement and get a policy. Maybe not everything that you need, but you start something, and you can always increase in the future. You can always add more to it. I've experienced a couple things also in the business, but like you said, whether the economy is bad or it's good or bad, people always need what we do. And what an advantage to be able to start in a retirement account with as low as 25 or $50, or get a policy with just $50 or $80. So it's a game changer. It really is. And I think, like you said, it's a perfect time today, but we are set up to do something special long term.
Yeah, when you think about this wall of wealth that's happening, and you've mentioned investments a couple of times, and of course, I think we have over $500 million in assets under management today. And I, even if it's just the rule of 72, and next 6 years, that's going to be 1 billion. And 6 years after that, I'll be, I don't know, 62 or something like that. That's going to be $2 billion. And that's if we don't even add any money. We're adding $60 million a year right now in new money. So this thing is just going to be billions and billions. I mean, there's people that are passing away, unfortunately. I mean, a lot of people don't know what the baby boomer generation really is. I mean, between 1946 and 1964, there was like 80 million babies that were born, and all of these people are unfortunately, a lot of them are passing away, and they're leaving big amounts of money in life insurance money. They're leaving huge estates. They're leaving 401k plans. They're leaving investment accounts, and I just think it's an industry that is going to do really well. I mean, the last thing I'll say about that is that that I just wrote a new book. It's called Why Most Life Insurance is a Scam and How to Get It Right. And I basically expose the industry for what it is, because people are not saving money because they're putting money into policies like IUL policies, or they're
Yeah.
putting money into whole life policies, where these policies, I mean, and this is verified. This is studies that they've done. I mean, LIMRA, I mean, all these different, consumer reports, you name it. And they're exposing these companies to say, wait a minute, your clients are getting 2 to 3% return on their money after all said and done. And so no wonder these people so many people are struggling financially. They're just not, the returns on investment are so poor that they're struggling ever to be able to get to some solid retirement. And so, what's the message from you? As far as like when you're talking to clients and when you're explaining this, and how many clients do you see that have these type of policies?
It's definitely more popular today. And I think it has to do with social media. Obviously, that's kind of the traditional way of insurance, right? These whole life policies, right? But I felt, I don't know if you noticed it, but in the last 10 years, it had died down a little bit. I didn't have as many agent confrontation. It wasn't like it was before, but I feel like it's come back again. And, be your own bank and IUL, that is so popular today. And I get it. They're looking for ways to sell it and make it sound more attractive. But, 2 plus 2 is always going to be 4. And if you're always going to find ways to have more money for the lowest amount of money, you just can't beat that. When I sit with a family and you compare apples to apples, if something happens today, you have more money. And if you stay with me you stay with that program 30 years from now, you also have more money with us. So it's just a different language. This whole thing of having insurance forever, then you're sitting down with the wrong people. You're 65, 67, 70 years old, and you still need to be paying for a plan. You sit down with the wrong people. You're not supposed to still be sending a check out. You're supposed to be collecting a check at that point. And so it's definitely just a different game. There is no competition, but we do have to prepare our agents. And if you're new in the business, you have to get good at being a better messenger. Right now, there's an opportunity not just for you to, to invest a lot of that wealth that is coming in, but having a team of people doing it with you. To me, that's a recruiting tool today. I'm looking for people. Sure, you're going to get life insurance license to make money right now. But you got to get an investments license so you can start building that wealth in the future. But we got to use this opportunity to bring more people on board. This is like the best entrepreneurship opportunity. You can come in here with no overhead, no payroll, nothing. And you have these beautiful locations, these great systems. Use these locations, use this system to bring more talent on board to help more families out there to get into the right plans and keep exposing the industry. They're going to keep selling it. I think we need them out there. We need them offering these bad programs because they're not going to stop. The commissions are what, 5, 10 times bigger than selling a term policy. And they talk about structuring them the right way. I mean, how many times have you heard them on TikTok or on Instagram? I'm in the industry. I don't even understand what they're talking about 100% of the time. So it's just interesting how that
I
works.
mean, how do they? I remember a buddy of mine. I was early on in my career, and it was actually my first office. Which, by the way, you actually have one of my first offices that I. So you're actually
Come on,
run your
Claremont.
business out of
Yeah.
the same location, which is pretty cool. But no, in that office, I remember I had a guy, that real good buddy of mine, and he said he was going to go to a competing company and sell these variable universal life policies. And so I said, hey, all right, come to Saturday training. And I spent, I don't know, 2 hours, at least 2 hours I spent just going line by line in this policy because nobody reads the policies. And I just went line by line in the policy just to expose to him all of the reasons why it's a horrible program. I mean,
Yeah.
so there wasn't, none of it was like my, opinion. It
Right.
was like legit right out of the policy.
Right.
And the guy still went and worked with that company. So is there like, do you think that there's just maybe good people and bad people in this world? Because that guy obviously was not a good guy. Now he didn't even last in the industry, and he never, he probably lasted a little while and then he quit. But like, how could somebody know? Because like you said, it's just a mathematical equation. I
Yeah.
mean, if I could give you $1 million policy for $100 versus $600 a month, like why would I want to pay? Why would I want to pay 600 versus 100?
Yeah.
Like, are there good people and bad people? Do you think?
Yeah, there's definitely good and bad people for sure. And I think some of the people that go to these other companies, they're looking for that quick fix instead of just getting good. I think they think that, especially when they're struggling, especially when you're not recruiting, especially when you're working on everything else looks more attractive. And, it's when you talk maybe to another agent and from another company, and they're telling you, hey, listen, why are you struggling over there just making 500-600 bucks an hour and a half work, although it's great money? Come and make 3,000, come and make 5,000. But what people don't realize is you take yourself with you. And it's that short-term thinking, that quick fix that you may be looking for. Maybe you'll do a couple of deals, but if you don't work on you, the beautiful thing about life is that bad ideas are eventually exposed. Eventually, it's going to catch up to you. Eventually, you're going to come across somebody who goes, hey, didn't you sell me that crappy policy? I couldn't get a dime out of it a year later or 2 years later. So it's sad. It's sad to see that. And unfortunately, it's something that will continue to happen. For sure, there's good and bad people, but there's just others, I think, that are looking for that quick fix, and it can get them in trouble.
Yeah, it's really sad because I see that, and I actually have a really good friend of mine. I mean, for like years and years and years, decades, I've known her, and she went out and started working with another company, but they were struggling a little bit and having some financial issues. And then all of a sudden, she finds this company that says, "Hey, man, we're going to make you rich." And I think it's a bummer, man, because I don't care how much I'm struggling. I'm always going to do what's right. And,
Yeah.
and because again, there's, how do you sleep at night knowing that literally the industry's already been exposed? I mean, there's already been lawsuits. There's already been major, articles and books and every financial person. Like, I've never seen a major publication say that an IUL policy is better for a young family. It's never happened before. They would never put themselves in a situation to publish something like that because it's completely false. And there's no way that they could ultimately defend it. And so it's really a bummer to me when I see people make, like you said, it's like those short term decisions. Ultimately they're going to be exposed, and I think it's going to be embarrassing, when when they ultimately get exposed. You've turned adversity. You've been in a lot of uh you've had a lot of shit happen in your life in the last 20 years, just call it. And ups and downs and good and bad. And what keeps you going, man? Like, what are you fighting for? What legacy are you fighting for? Why are you doing this? You got a lot of money, and you've made a lot of money. You have a very, very successful business. Why do you keep going, man?
Well, I think if you decide to stop, that's when I think I don't know if it's good for you. I just feel like wasn't good for me. I think about when I was during going through the treatment, I took a couple of days off because a couple of people suggested for me to do that while I'm doing chemo. and it just makes sense to do that. But you'll be surprised when I started doing Zooms again from the trailer, it helped me get through it. I think your reasons for life change with time. Sandy Benita calls it your why graduates, and she's so right. And I have people that are in my business that they're extended family. I got a lot of love for them, and I think obviously what I'm excited about today is not what I was excited about in the past. And today I want to really set my family up. I want to experience winning in this company at the highest level. I think it almost feels sometimes like a second string quarterback. Even if we won the championship, even if we're doing okay, even if we're getting paid, you want to experience really winning and really, at least I want to compete at the highest level with these guys. And I believe that I can. I just need to bring more players on board. I'm working with new couples right now. I want to match some of these great organizations with the same amount of licensing. That's what gets me going today. I think it's important to continue dreaming. I think sometimes people they go through things and they let the experience get to them. I'm always looking for something new. I'm always looking to have new experiences, and yeah, that's what keeps me going. And then my kids, they're 13, 10, and 6. Two of them have mentioned that they want to do this business, and I want them to come into a good hierarchy. I want them to come into something that is moving. If they don't want to do this business, I'm good. But if they want to do this business, I'm going to train them, and I want to make sure that they're not here surviving with me, that we're kicking ass together. So I feel like I'm just thinking a few years ahead, and I need to prepare for it and not catch them by surprise.
I love that you're thinking forward. I was thinking about my kids before they were born, man. I was thinking about how I want my life to look. I want to be the dad out on the playground with them, running around. I want to be the dad traveling the world with them. I want to be the dad to take them to school, pick them up. I want to be the dad, having breakfast with them. And I didn't want to be the dad that I was just having to grind it for all my life, and I just it's amazing when when you see it so clearly, and this is my hope to everybody, and that you try to find something that you can see clearly, you can really feel it, that it's good, that it's right, and you're willing to go for it. Like once in your life, you're willing to really go make something great happen in your life, and you're certainly an inspiration. I do want you just to kind of, as we close out right now, I want you to talk to that broke man or woman, that disillusioned person, that person that's just, life has not dealt them a good hand, and they're just wondering, like, could this be an option? Could this be a chance for them? Like, what would you, if you had them, right in front of you, and they're just like going, I'm kind of giving up because I don't see life as being what I thought it was going to be. And just things didn't work out. I get laid off. I mean, my boss is an asshole. Just things are not happening. What would you tell that person?
That I've been there. And when you feel like you're burned out, it's because you don't have clarity. And when you have clarity, you get focus and automatically you have this energy. So clarity, number one, definitely got to work on clarity, my suggestion. Another one is when you're struggling, you start to look at other options. And I know I've been there in the past, especially before becoming an RVP. But a degree today is not security, like a job is also not security. You don't have a contract. No, you don't, there isn't a contract that says they're never going to let you go. Like even if the company goes out of business, they'll continue paying you. What security really is, I've learned, is your skills, your mindset, your ability, your network, if you things that you can control. And I think a lot of the times when we feel like we want to throw in the towel, it's just because we can't, it's almost like you can't bank on yourself. We always know that the company works. We have the most $100,000 earners, more $1 million earners. Right now, they're being produced on a weekly basis. It's almost like $1 million is that new 300,000 is. So it's just unbelievable where we are as a company. So definitely stay in it. Hit that reset button, ask for help. Sometimes we coach ourselves and that hurts us a lot. Look for somebody that can help you with that clarity. Because once energy goes, everything goes. And normally you don't have the energy if you're not focused on something, if you're not clear on where you're heading. Things are never as bad as you may think they are. I've been in some tough situations and they've been the biggest blessing. But that's part of the sweat equity. You got to go through some stuff to really have that confidence that you can do something special in the future. But, sometimes we future trip. We compare ourselves with other people that have 10 times more the licenses, 10 times more the full timers, that have so much more money in AUM. Just play your game, accept where you are. And if you're going to build here, think about what's the worst. If you're going to decide to build here, you're going to have to recruit. You're okay with people quitting? You're okay with people changing their mind? You're okay with people saying some bad things about you? You're okay with what comes with building a business? If you can be okay with the worst, then anything above that is gravy, and then start taking action. Hopefully that helps.
No, man, this was, I mean, I can't even believe we've been doing this for an hour, man. This is just, this time
No.
just flew by. You are so well spoken. You are, I mean, 37 years old, man. You are going to be, I mean, you're already pretty wealthy, but man, you have no idea, man, what you're going to do in the future is going to be so big, so incredible. And I love talking to guys like you because you know exactly what you want. You know exactly where you're going. You're so calm and collective about it. And that to me is confidence. Not that it's everything's perfect, not that everything's going to work out exactly the way you want, but you know what the future holds, man. You know, if you just keep putting one foot in front of the other, keep getting better, keep improving, keep your mindset right, nothing can stop you. And I'll tell you, I mean, nobody ever wishes upon another person for, to go through what you went through medically. Nobody ever would wish that. But man, for you to come out on top and to look back and say that's one of the greatest things that you've experienced because it's made you who you are today is just so powerful and so there's so much right with that because it just tells us all that no matter where we're at, no matter what we're going through, there's always another level. And as long as we stay focused, as long as we do the things we're supposed to do, we can, we can overcome. And so you're a testament to greatness, buddy. And I'm proud of you. I'm proud to be your teammate. I'm proud to be your friend. And I'm always here for you, man. So thanks again for being out here. If you can, just tell everybody what your Instagram handle is. So that way, at least, because there's a lot of people, man, they're going to reach out to you. They're going to ask for advice. They're going to want to maybe get connected with you. Hey, look, there's going to be somebody that's going to say, hey, man, I want to join your team like right now. And so if that happens, how do they get a hold of you? How do they, connect with you, man?
Yes, it's for Instagram, Ruben Chavez underscore F.S. That's for Instagram.
Okay. So reach out to Ruben. If not anything, some of you guys are in the business. If you're in the business, reach out and say hi and thank him for his time. This was an incredible interview,
Thank you, brother.
extremely powerful. And then, but also if you're interested in joining his team, call him up, man. Say, let's rock and roll, man. He's building one of the fastest growing organizations that this company has ever seen before in history. One of the best in the company. He's a guy definitely you want to get to know. So with that said, everybody, thank you so much for hanging with us today. If you haven't gotten the new book, make sure you go to Amazon, get the new book, Why Most Life Insurance is a Scam and How to Get It Right. Y'all are going to love it. All right. It's a financial independence book that's going to take you to that next level. And Make sure you get after it. Make sure you work hard. Make sure you believe in yourself. Dream bigger than ever. But most importantly, do it now. God bless you. We'll see you at the
Thank you
next
so
one.
much, Daniel. Have a great day. Appreciate you, brother. Thank
Appreciate
you.
you, man.